Welcome to issue 202.5 of Critical Encounters, a podcast about Marvel Champions, a living card game by Fantasy Flight Games.
Here we take a good look at the most critical piece of the game, the encounter sets.
We'll discuss those poorly understood characters, unfairly labeled villains,
and their various plans to shape humanity and benefit the planet, as well as those so-called heroes intent on. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel, and joining me tonight is James. How are you?
So good, Daniel. How are you?
Fantastic. Oh, 5 days in a row. This is legendary commitment from you. Thank you. Thank you. And speaking of legendary, Steve is here.
Hello, adoring fans. I'm here. Okay, worry not. Hi, Daniel.
And Bill, you're here too. You're just as legendary as Steve.
Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. But I don't believe it.
It's true. You and Steve play so many games on the. It's awesome. It's awesome watching you guys. So, thanks everyone for being here at the culmination of our mansion attack week. Wow.
Hey, after such a big week, I'm sure that everyone is just dying to know.
What's that, James?
Daniel, what's on your mind tonight?
James, it's weird that you would ask that because there's an email from a listener, a guy named Chris, a.k.a. Tiger Vet. Do we know him, Steve?
He wrote in a while back to us, yeah.
Okay.
So
I feel like I remember Tiger Vet. I remember that name. Anyway, he says this to us. Hey, guys. Just wanted to update y'all. I have finished Mutant Genesis and Sabretooth and Magneto. Both picked up some wins against those heroes. Now, really enjoyed it and have now added Galaxy's Most Wanted to the collection. Loving the show and just didn't want Daniel's mind to be empty for a week. He might want to check if Xavier has been in the lair lately, wiping his memory. We talked about that.
Very timely.
First day. Very timely. As far as I'm concerned, there's no villain fatigue with you guys on the case. Aw. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Tiger Red. Awesome. Yeah. I did have an empty mind for a while, Steve.
You did.
I did.
But not anymore. We've got a lot of what's on your minds queued up now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. All right. So this is our fifth and final piece of the mansion attack. And we could not do a issue about the mansion attack without talking about the mansion itself. Could we?
No.
No, we could not.
It makes sense we would talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. And I heard, Bill, that you stole the secret plans from the X-Men and are going to give us some stats and information that will make our attack against the mansion that much easier. So lay it on me.
All right. So the mansion, this is just kind of like some notes that were sticking out of a book. It has belonged to the Xavier family for 10 generations. It dates all the way back to 1698. It was originally built by a Dutch seafaring ancestor of Professor X, and it was made of stone from the edge of the Breakstone Lake in upstate New York, which is near the Salem Center area. And I've spent time in New York, but Steve, you're more of an expert at New York. Have you been to the Breakstone Lake area?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it? I wonder if it's made up for this fiction. Not sure. And maybe my data, the plans that I stole are getting kind of old, so it may have changed by now. But so if the structure was built back in 1698 and it's being used for kind of a modern usage, evidently improvements were needing to be made. And so I don't think that they had even electricity back in 1698, and so they had to definitely install some of that. And then they also had to modernize the building. But the one thing about the X Mansion is it has been destroyed several times over the last, particularly recently. Maybe it lasted for quite some time, and then it seems like every time they would rebuild it, something would happen and it would get destroyed. And some of the renovations that they would then include in these kind of redos is they would put a subterranean structure to it. So there was hangars that you could land aircraft in down below the surface of the ground. Then, of course, we have the famous danger room that the X-Men used to train in. So we definitely need to look into that and see what that's all about. Maybe crack some of those files open that we found from the danger room. They also have some really high-speed transport tunnels underneath the surface of the ground. And, as I'm kind of looking at the plans, it looks like the way that it was rendered in Bryan Singer's X-Men movies, that's exactly how I imagine it, right? That there's going to be these tunnels underneath with these sliding doors. I know in the movies it was real popular to have that X latch that latched the door shut. It's almost like they had these doors in case they're being attacked, so they can close the blast doors, right? So, one of the notable destruction of the mansion occurred in X-Men number 154. And during that time period, it's when they were involved with the Shi'ar. They used the Shi'ar technology to rebuild the mansion because Professor X's lady friend at that time was Empress Lilandra. And she was really instrumental in making sure that this building would get put back together. But then it was rebuilt with Shi'ar applications and specifications. And so it was more advanced than any other structure on Earth. It incorporated a self-sustaining intelligence where it could repair itself, it could upgrade itself, just automatically. This is back, before we had devices that upgraded themselves, I don't think automatically. But then, if something broke, it could fix itself.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting like cold feet about this whole thing. This thing's self-repairing itself?
Yeah.
And it's got alien technology in it?
Exactly. So
do we really have to try and get into this school?
Yeah. Well, let's just do it before X-Men number 154, and we'll be fine.
Perfect.
Right.
Okay, thank you. I'm in.
Yep.
Back in time, right? Just jump in, go back, and attack it then. So yeah, very convenient that it could fix itself. If any of the devices inside break, they can get fixed. You're watching popcorn at midnight, microwave breaks, there it is, it's fixed. Now you got your popcorn, refrigerator. So the X-Mansion would accommodate both the X-Men and the New Mutants over the years. In fact, there was a time when both of them occupied the mansion at the same time. They had their own wings. And here's where we get into the technology or the specs. So there's 6 levels to the mansion. There's the attic, which is normally where you put your communications room, and that's where you store your seasonal decorations and all that kind of stuff.
Xmas decorations.
Those kinds of things. So anything you don't want to look at every day, that goes up there, your old toys and things like that. The second floor is where the X-Men wing is. That's also where Xavier's chambers are. Actually, Xavier's chambers is kind of a multi-level thing. He's got these really big chambers, so he can go up and down in the elevator in his conveniently. There's also another wing on the other side of the building for the New Mutants. Then on the ground floor, it's pretty typical of a mansion. When you walk into a mansion, you're going to expect to see a big entryway with a dining hall, a big library over here. There's also, some administration type rooms in there, computer rooms and so forth. But then once you get down to the basement, that's when things start to really look different from other mansions. I guess I haven't been to a whole lot of mansions in my life, but this is where you find all these little secret passages that go around through the underground underneath the building. It really spreads out underneath. There's these secret passages. Importantly, there's a wine cellar down there. Yeah. So you're going to take a break, go down for a nightcap. There you go to the basement. Then you go even a little bit further down into the sub-basement. That's where the Shi'ar power supply is. And that's where all the medical rooms are, the laboratory. This is where things really start to heat up inside there. You want to get down there and try to tap into some of those things. If you're gonna break in, you might as well go for the heart, right? Go down there and get some of this Shi'ar power supply. Tap into this alien technology. There's also in the sub basement these magnetic rail cars that can run like 200 miles an hour under the ground. And then you get down to the lowest level, which is the danger room level. And so this is where you really see a lot of Shi'ar technology down there. There's those hollow projectors where the X-Men can train. And so that's where we can really, if we can get down to the danger room, we can get into a lot of their secrets, and learn, what makes these guys tick? What have they been practicing? How can we get the edge over them? We got to get down to the danger room. That's pretty much
sounds good.
Where it all happens. there's other things too. There's Cerebro inside the mansion. I'm not exactly sure what level Cerebro is. We'll have to look around for that one. And so what really can be said is that this mansion is just full of a lot of trickery. It's a lot of comic booky stuff. Is what you're going to find inside that mansion.
Yeah, sounds pretty nice.
All right.
We got to do some upgrades, Daniel.
Well, clearly we're not competing with this place.
No. But we could try.
We don't even have a basement, Steve.
We are in the basement, I thought.
Well,
Okay, guys,
yeah,
I'm literally getting cold feet from this basement now. So you need to stop pumping me with some confidence because I'm getting really worried about going into this place.
But if the only place you have, Steve, is a basement, then the basement's under that.
The sub basement. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. 3 stories above, 3 stories below.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
We definitely don't have that here.
No.
And James, I'm sorry about your cold feet.
Yeah. Now
we can turn the heat on, but we need some more of that sweet Patreon money, and we can actually install a heater down here.
Wow.
I just want to disclaim, guys, that these plans that I stole, they're like 30 years old. So what has happened between then and now?
Yeah, probably nothing.
I don't know. Maybe somebody could share that with us. Somebody who knows more.
Well, let's look at some more stuff about this mansion and check out the cards for the mansion attack scenario. How about that?
Yes.
Do it.
All right. Last time I'm going to say this. Mutant Genesis campaign box, 4th scenario, 25 total cards, 10 setup cards, 15 encounter cards, 7 by title. And tonight we're going to talk about 2 more of the cards at setup and all 7 encounter cards. Daniel, start us off with the main scheme, would you please?
I would love to. It is the Brotherhood Strikes. Now, here you got Avalanche A, Blob A, Pyro A, and Toad A, and you use the B sides for Expert, Mansion Attack, Brotherhood, and Standard sets, and 1 modular set, and the game recommends Mystique. Now, when you're setting this up, you put the Save School environment into play, you shuffle all the copies of Main Scheme 2A, and stack them under this scheme, shuffle the villains together without looking to create the villain deck, and the top card of this deck is in play.
Okay.
So you flip it on over, and the Xavier Institute is under attack by the Brotherhood of Mutants. This is the Brotherhood Strikes 1B. When revealed, deal each player a face-down encounter card, advance to the next card in the main scheme deck, and add this card to the victory display. They had to put something on the back of their card. Here it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right. I think let's read Save the School environment, and then we can talk a little bit more about how you win and lose the scenario, and then we'll dig through the encounter cards. So, James, Save the School.
Save the School. It is an environment card with a forced response. After the villain is defeated, if there are X.
Oh, I get it.
Villains in the victory display. The players win the game. See the X logo, rulebook, page 15. Otherwise, deal each player an encounter card and reveal the next villain. If a minion with the same title as the new villain is engaged with a player, discard that minion, and the villain activates against that player.
Good environment.
Interesting. Let me read you a little bit about out of the rule book, since it references that, and then we can talk about this setup. So we have the multiple villains, right? Daniel told us we're going to shuffle all 4 of our guys together, and only 1 villain's in play at a time, but the order's randomized, so we never know who's going to be next. And in order to win the scenario, you must defeat a certain number of villains. I guess for us to lose, a couple of us got to get beat up. So there's this little chart. If the players are playing skirmish mode, you defeat 1 villain to win. Standard mode, you defeat 2 villains to win. Expert mode, you defeat 3 villains to win. And heroic mode, you defeat 4 villains to win. Heroic mode would be a very long game, I think, in like 4 players. It would be marathon.
I've played it in solo. It's fun.
Okay. Yeah, I can see solo being a lot nicer. So the Brotherhood Strikes scheme instructs us to put the Save the School out, which we've talked about, and what to do after each villain is defeated. So you're going to The heroes are going to punch the villains until a villain dies, and tuck it under to save the school, and either you've won because you've defeated enough villains, or you move on, you get this encounter card, and you keep going. But the villains win, right? If the main scheme advance enough times, because we've talked about all 4 different locations, also randomized, so you don't know which villain or which location you're going to be fighting them at. And right off the bat, the Brotherhood Strikes 1B just gets put into the victory display. So when you start looking at the 2Bs, it says if there are 3 main schemes in the victory display, the players lose the game. The game starts by tucking 1 into the victory display right off the bat. So the villains only have to take out 2 locations, right? 2 main schemes have to advance: the atrium, the basketball court, the courtyard, or the cafeteria. So once 2 of those are advanced, the villains win. Or if you defeat, let's say on standard, 2 villains, the heroes win.
Yeah.
But you get it's fun because you get a lot of different randomized combos. I think that's the fun part.
Yeah.
And is this the first time that we saw this kind of design space in the game, where we advance to this first stage, but then there's no threat threshold. It immediately progresses more for like a story and setup. Did that happen in Magog? I don't feel like it happened in anything previous.
Yeah, there's been a couple, I think.
I don't know if there are any that just instantly progress. I can't remember. This happens a lot in the Lord of the Rings, which is a different game, so sometimes they blur a little bit. All right, so that's our setup. We know what we're doing, hopefully, and we've got a whole lot of encounter cards to go through.
So, can I ask a question that some folks might have? So, when you look at all of the main schemes, like each villain has their own main scheme, right? When you defeat the villain, that scheme doesn't go away, correct?
Okay, so in our lore episodes, we looked at main schemes along with the villain whose artwork was on it, but they're not really technically tied to one another.
They're not tied to one another, right?
No.
Now it says, when completed, add the scheme to the victory display. Advance to the next. If there are 3 main schemes in the victory display, the players lose.
Yeah, so
That's tough.
Yeah, because you start with 1 in the victory display.
Start with 1.
1B instantly goes there.
Oh my goodness.
7 threat in a solo game dumps the atrium into the victory display. You're at 2 out of 3 right there. Right. So you can only let the main scheme advance once. Or you've lost. Yes.
Regardless of your heroic, standard, or whatever mode, right? That's sort of that's static here. All right.
Right. The hero or the standard or expert only impacts how many villains you have to defeat. So how long does it take you?
Yeah.
Right. You have 2 main schemes and you've lost, or how many villains can you defeat the villains before the main schemes advance? That's
exciting. That's exciting. All right, so thank you. All right, so let's get on to these encounter cards.
Yeah, let's talk about the first one, and this is going to be an Avalanche card. So we're going to read these as they're paired up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So Groundswell. Now there's 2 of these. It does have some beautiful Avalanche artwork, and I can't tell who he's hurting, but that doesn't matter because this is a podcast, not a visual medium. When revealed, Avalanche activates against you. If he is not in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Avalanche minion and reveal him with a boost. If the villain is Avalanche, give him an additional boost card for this activation. So that is the boost icon, but it does sadly only have 1, regular boost.
Sad.
Yeah, well, it's 1 plus an additional boost if it's Avalanche, yeah. And as a quick reminder, right, the main scheme said the Brotherhood modular set. And the Brotherhood modular set has Avalanche, Blob, Pyro, and Toad in it. And they all basically do the same thing. They're like,
I really like that about this scenario, actually. Yeah. That you can get multiples of them out. I think that's cool.
It's a neat way to kind of do the multi-villain thing. Is one's the main villain and the rest are kind of his minions at the moment, and then they'll rotate around. So
yeah, I like that.
And thematically, Mystique is coming with it. Is recommended with it as well. She comes out. She's got 9 health. She's matching what the person is doing in terms of damage or scheme, and she's villainous. It's solid enough.
Yeah, the theme's right there, I think. So that's cool.
So I'm looking at the minion that could pop out. Avalanche, the minion.
Mm-hmm.
It says after Avalanche attacks you, exhaust a character you control, where his villain says exhaust an ally you control.
Oh.
So yeah, there's certain advantage to having the minion out there, right?
Yeah, the minion's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've got these all laid out here. I'll look at them as we go.
Cool.
Well, Bill, the next card's yours.
Hopping Mad. Let's see. This is a treachery card. It says when revealed, Toad activates against you. If he's not in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Toad minion and reveal him. So I'm seeing a theme here, right? These are all very similar. The boost says if the villain is Toad, give him an additional boost for this activation. So that's his special boost. So he's going to get one boost already. He's going to get an additional boost if he's out there. And then it says when revealed, Toad activates against you. So Toad activating against us does a damage to a character we control. Then that's when we have to discard a card from our hand. So Hopping Mad can make you just that if you start getting your cards smacked out of your hand, right?
Now,
But for Daniel's sake, I think you're going to say the same thing as me.
Yes, go ahead, James.
He's either had a recent run-in with Wolverine, or he has in fact retracted his tongue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now you know.
And there's two of these.
Still want to know where it goes. Anyway.
Let me look at the Toad minion just briefly. It says force response after Toad attacks and damages a character you control, discard one random card from your hand. So same
idea.
Same thing. So
Well, next we have two immovables. That is Blob's little encounter card. And it says, when revealed, Blob activates against you. If he's not in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Blob minion and reveal him. His boost is like everyone else's. If the villain is Blob, give him an additional boost card for this activation. And he has one boost icon as well. I wonder what Pyromaniac's going to be, Steve.
Yeah. Bill's got the Blob minion real
Oh,
quick.
yeah. Tell us about the Blob minion, Bill. Sorry.
yeah, so he's a guard. So you get him out. He's not going away right away, and he's got 6 health on him. So a guard with 6 health, and he has that same force response after Blob attacks and damages a character, stun that character. So these treachery cards are bringing out these minions that are no joke. So now you've got a minion and a villain that you're dealing with that are basically essentially both villains on the table, right?
Yeah.
I like it.
And out comes Mystique, and you cannot attack the villain while Mystique's in play. I mean, it's a good combination.
It is.
All right. Well, there is a fourth one here. No surprise. Pyromaniac. The treachery for Pyro. Right? 2 of them. And when revealed, Pyro activates against you. If he's not in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile. That's key. For the Pyro minion and reveal him. It has 1 boost and a special boost. If the villain is Pyro, give him an additional boost for this activation. Okay, Bill. And the Pyro minion.
The minion is a scheme of 2, attack of, it's same as before, 0 on his on one side. So it says force response after Pyro attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck, take 1 indirect damage for each printed resource icon discarded this way. So similar to
similar to the villain, but he does get a boost card, so he's still only attacking for 0, so you don't have to block, and then you take the indirect.
I mean, if you pull advance or something else from the standard set and you're not playing the critical encounters house rules, you could just be doing the exact same amount of damage as the villain there.
Yeah.
So these are the suite of 4 cards kind of makes the whole scenario tick, right? You're getting additional activations because the villains trigger off of activations. You're giving them bonus boost cards if they're timed correctly, or you're pulling out the minion. They can be kind of weak as a boost if it doesn't match up with the villain, right? It's a 1 boost. If you draw a movable and Blob is not the villain, it's just a 1 boost card. So that in that regard, they're kind of weak. But otherwise, the rest of that card, I feel like are pretty decent. So
yeah, and a lot of them. So like 8 cards. Pretty good chance you're going to draw these, particularly in a multiplayer game.
Yeah, read in a vacuum like tonight, they sound kind of like, they're all the same. It's kind of boring. But like you said, Steve, this scenario needs this suite.
Right.
To kind of make it thematically hum and be challenging.
Yeah. Kind of helps add meat to that bone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, why don't you tell us about Brotherhood Beatdown? What is that?
Brotherhood Beatdown. There's 3 copies of the Brotherhood Beatdown. I do believe in this. It says it's a treachery card. And listen to this. It says, when revealed, for each of the following enemies in play. And then there's 4 bullet points: Avalanche, Blob, Pyro, Toad. Avalanche says exhaust your identity. Blob says you are stunned. Pyro, take 2 indirect damage. And Toad is discard 1 random card from your hand. So basically, this is a treachery that is their ability that goes off. And there's 3 copies of this in here.
Love it.
And it has 2 boost icons on each one of these. A lot of boost in this deck, actually. I'm looking around. Looking at the cards.
What I especially love about this card is that, like, in a 4-player game, Steve could have Avalanche and Blob in front of him, and Bill, you've got Pyro in front of you, and I got Toad in front of me, and then James draws this card.
Right.
And it all happens to him.
Right. They turn around and look at him like, get him.
I feel like that's the great thing, though, is that it really scales with multiplayer. You're already cheating, right? You're already cheating because you're coming as a team to take on this team as heroes.
Sure.
And you're more likely to pull these guys out as minions. You're more likely to pull this out in this way. It's great.
I love this card. Yeah.
You will see it.
Yeah, with 3 of them, but does incentivize the heroes to keep the minions away, right? Like, because if there's only 1 villain out and you've managed to defeat the villains, you're going to do one of these things.
Yeah.
But if you can't handle the minions, woof. Yeah. All right, James.
All right. This is the cheaty card in a way, I guess. It is at least a crisis icon, but it is protect the students as a side scheme. It has hinder 2 per player with 2 base threat per player. When defeated, the player who defeated this side scheme searches their deck and discard pile for an ally and adds it to their hand.
Yeah. Now, why do you think that's so cheaty?
Well, it's if you're playing solo, it's coming out of 4. If you're playing as someone like Phoenix and you're already, thwarting for 3 just off the bat, and then you play clear the area, you get a card back, you decide to pull someone that gives you some, as a low cost enters play thing, it can set you up a little bit. It provides a little bit back. It doesn't put them into play. It's not as bad as some of those other things. But at least it's providing a bit of a rebate.
Yeah, at the bare minimum, even if you don't want that ally at the time, you're still able to draw it in your hand and use it as a resource, right? So it could be timed. Yeah. And there's 2 of them in the deck. There's 2 of these in there.
Oh, that's right. There's 2.
So
this is an anti-Mike card, right? Who plays with no allies?
Yeah, I mean, he usually has a signature ally.
Oh, okay, that's true. Yeah.
But maybe they're already in play.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that in the art?
I'm guessing that's Kitty. I don't know.
And then 2 random kids, right?
Kitty with some kitties.
But I like how one of them has, a little Wolverine t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
What's the other t-shirt? The other t-shirt has a face or something on it.
That's Toad.
Is it just the hand? Is it just the hand? It's
Toad.
Toad.
Is it? Oh, okay. It is the hand. Okay.
It's Toad.
Come on, let's get a break.
Love for Toad there.
Oh, golly. Well, Steve, tell us about the last side scheme.
Ooh, I get to? All right.
Yeah.
Under Siege is a side scheme, and there are 2 of these. It has 0 threat on it. What?
What?
That doesn't make sense. When revealed, place 3 threat on this scheme for each Brotherhood of Mutants character in play.
Okay.
Acceleration and 3 boost icons, and a great picture of the mansion burning down. Pyro done his thing.
Dang.
All right, so it starts with 3 threat automatically because you've got a villain out who is a Brotherhood of Mutants character, right?
Yep. And you could have 12.
You could have 3 more minions and Mystique.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So yeah, you could put 15 threat on here, I guess. I mean, you're in big trouble anyway, so I guess the mansion's burning down at that point. So yeah.
In solo, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Acceleration is really positive because you want those main schemes to advance, so adding extra threat to it is good.
Yeah.
It speeds it up. Yeah.
You know what we should do? We should just encourage people to put in the old Avalanche Nemesis as well, because that insight too on this, main scheme of 7. Oof, yeah.
Wow.
All right, so this is a school, and we have spent 5 days talking about this set. So let's give this a grade as if we were in school. And Bill, you have to go first. You're sitting in the front of the class, so I'm going to call on you.
All right. I'll be happy to give my opinion, and I'm going to give this one an A. I love playing against this scenario, and I like the characters. These are all of these Brotherhood characters I like, so I like the theme of it, and I like the way that the encounter deck interacts with the villains and the minions that you put in there. So I really, really like this one. This one's and comparing this to other sets that have multiple villains in it, like Sinister Six and the Wrecking Crew. So this is probably my favorite one.
Okay, all right. James, you're up now.
I would probably give this one an X for exciting. I love the way. I know. I hate myself. Yeah, I know.
Okay, good, because we hate you too, but go on.
F.
You know,
Mostly I hate him because he stole my joke, but okay.
Yeah. It's that Avalanche Pyro thing, you know, just so close to each other.
You're a buddies.
Buddies. I think, yeah, just to kind of like Bill was saying, I like all the characters. I think the way that it works together, especially with the recommended setup, because we're adding the Brotherhood of Mutants set to this typically as well. The way that all fires off from one to another is great. Mystique in there. I hate Mystique. Meaning I love Mystique. The game can be really punishing. You know, sometimes when that first villain comes out, I'm like, ugh. And then I flip to see what area I'm in. I'm like, double, ugh. And occasionally I cheat and I forget that I'm meant to give myself an encounter card. And even when I just, when you get too cocky and you just like go to set it up quickly and I forget, no, I've got to give myself an encounter card. Even when I don't, sometimes I'm like, yeah, this is a fun time.
Okay. Nice.
Play the game. You want to play it to the next level, right?
Yeah, yeah. All right, Daniel.
Yeah. Well, Steve, you know how many times I've played this scenario?
Do I have to talk to Becky and Andy again?
Nope.
Oh, no, because you've played it with James.
With James. One time. I have played this once, and it was with James and two other folks, and it was awesome and super fun, and I'm going to give it an A for that.
All right.
Aww.
I also think it's phenomenally well built. It was cool. And as we were playing it, it was fun. And each villain changes how you do your strategery against it. It's cool. I just think it's really well designed.
Yeah, I like that it's not even a multi-villain. It's sort of like a serial villain, right? You're not fighting them all at the same time unless their minions are out, which is a really neat way to do it where you're fighting different villains, but not more than one at a time. So, yeah, I like the way they've done it. It's a fun scenario. I've had a lot of good times playing this as well. Well, gentlemen, thank you for coming on. James, thanks for coming on. Bill, glad to have you back.
Absolutely.
Folks can check out Bill's YouTube channel. He's got one out there under the Board Game Lawyer. He's got games up there. He also twitches with me occasionally when we find the time. Once a week about. James, are you out in the interwebs anywhere? Can people get a hold of you? Are you making content or?
Don't worry, I'll find you.
Whoa. Okay. Do you folks have a clue you'd like to leave for James so he can find you easier? You can email us at criticalencounterspod@gmail.com. We're Critical Encounters on Facebook. You can find our YouTube channel or Patreon by searching for Critical Encounters Podcast. And on Discord, we are Vardane, Big Fun Love, Wandering to Board Game Lawyer, and Darcy. If you like our show, tell your friends. If you don't like our show, tell your enemies. Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, take us out. All right, guys. These mutants have given us a lot of trouble in the past. Does anybody need anything from the cafeteria, or can we bypass it?
I think Blob needs something from the cafeteria.
Oh, he needs another meal? Did he already eat before we left?
Yeah, but that would help me heal better. I'll have more stamina.
Crap. All right. Well, what we'll do, I'll run in first, gather whatever mutants are in the atrium behind the wall of fire. Then maybe Avalanche can knock them all down with a seismic quake. I'll try to intimidate them with a couple of fireballs to kind of scatter them, so we don't have to fight a whole bunch of them at once. When my flames go out, maybe Blob can come in and use his gravity field so we can keep them scattered so as not fight too many at once. While he's doing that, Toad can come in and start lashing them with his tongue to keep them scattered. Then we're just going to have to start hitting them with all we've got so we can, of course, get them down fast. Because more will be coming, and we'll be in trouble if we don't take them down quick. I think it's a pretty good plan. We should be able to pull it off this time. What do you think, Avalanche? You're used to crunching things. Can you give me a number crunch real quick?
Yeah. Give me a sec. I'm coming up with 32.33. Repeating, of course, the percentage of survival.
Well, it's a lot better than we usually do.
All right, ready, guys. Let's do this. Mortimer Touring-bee.
OMG, he just ran in.
Let's save him.
Stick to the plan.
Let's go.
Stick to the plan, chums.
Stick to the plan. Oh, gee. Oh, crap.
Throw up the firewall.
I can't quake.
I can't move. What the hell?
OMG.
I can't move either.
We got him.
God, crap. Mortimer.
Language.
Mortimer, you're such a moron.
This is ridiculous.
Damn it. Oh, crap. Mortimer, why'd you do this? Crap.
It's not my fault.
Oh, Mortimer, you're just as stupid as double hockey sticks.
Well, at least I got a sandwich.
Did you guys ever see... Did you guys see Leroy Jenkins, back in the day with World of Warcraft? You guys know that, right, Daniel?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad language was invented, so FFG say F that.
Oh, the boring kind of probe. I thought this was going a different direction.